when we're needing to distract and numb ourselves from all of these things that we're avoiding, that also distracts and numbs us away from relationships. And so at the end of the day, if having secure, close relationships, meaningful relationships is important to you, then you really need to stop avoiding. Hi friends, welcome back. Today we are talking about the trap of avoidance and really 7 signs that you are avoidant. Now, before you click away and avoid watching this episode, let's dive into really this trap of avoidance that's so pervasive, that so many of us struggle with, that really has negative impact on our life, but we can overcome this. So really, how do you know if you're avoidant? One of the big tip-offs is that you procrastinate on important issues. Now, I know this definitely applies to me at certain times in my life where there's something big and you know you need to do it, but you just keep putting it off. You are avoiding doing this thing. And so procrastination is a big sign that you're really leaning into being avoidant. Another sign that you are avoidant is that you normally feel anxiety when you think about doing some of these things that you're procrastinating, right? So if feeling anxiety and then putting things off is part of your experience, then that's a really good sign that you've been learning and living with this avoidant tendency. So another really big sign is that you rely on distraction or numbing. And this is part of like, well, how do we get away with procrastinating? Like, what are we doing? We're distracting ourselves, right? And there's so many ways to distract ourselves today. Like, there are so many ways with social media and watching shows and, just having all the alerts on your phone so that your attention is constantly being drawn away from what you're doing. Having really loose boundaries with the people in your life so that there's not really a lot of time for you, right? It's so easy to have distraction upon distraction. And then numbing, there's so many ways to numb ourselves with alcohol or drugs or food. And even like with overworking, right? Like taking on a position and then just saying yes to everything at work to where you really are just overloaded and there's no room left to do these things that are important in your life, right? That's a really tricky way of kind of getting distraction and numbing all at the same time, just being so immersed in your work. So another sign that you are avoidant, you've been avoidant, is that your problems keep repeating. Like the same problems keep coming up, the same issues keep coming up in your life because you're not ever really resolving them, right? And so this could be problems in a relationship. This could be problems with your health. This could be issues with your work, right? When we're avoiding getting to the heart of what matters, doing the action steps that are going to lead to change, we will never escape our problems. We will be like Groundhog Day, and it will just happen over and over and over again. So if you find yourself getting frustrated, like, the same issue keeps happening, it is likely because you are avoiding really moving through the issue to a solid solution. Another sign that you are avoidant is that you avoid confrontation at all costs. So this is one of those things, like classic avoidant is, I have a really tough conversation that I need to have with somebody, but I'm just going to keep avoiding it. I don't want to do it. Right? And so we allow that anxiety that kicks in when we think about doing this thing to kind of activate us. And then we go straight into distraction and numbing, and we just push it down the road. But this is a conversation that needed to happen. So the issues keep coming up. So when we feel stuck and really unfulfilled, sometimes we can get to a place where it's just like, life feels stagnant and we don't feel inspired. And there's just kind of like this just a low energy. I'm picturing like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh, where you're just like, okay, this is life, right? I'm just uninspired and I'm stuck and I'm unfulfilled. Well, it's very likely that you know some of the things that need to change, right? Maybe it's the relationship you're in. Maybe it's your work. Maybe you're not in the field that you should be in, right? Or maybe you're not working for a company that's in line with your values, but you're avoiding this big change that you know needs to happen. Or it could be your health, where you're not eating right and, sticking with a really challenging and effective exercise routine. And so your health is just slowly declining, right? And you just feel stuck. When you are in this place and you're feeling stuck and you're feeling unfulfilled, doing a little scan of your life, like what is the big change or little change that I've been avoiding that can help me start getting some momentum, some good, healthy momentum and energy, vitality back into your life and into your system. All right, the seventh sign that you are avoidant and that it is really having a negative impact on you is that you constantly downplay your feelings. So this is really important. When we avoid, we also have to do this by telling ourselves like it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Trying to convince ourselves that like things will be fine, even though we're having emotions about it. We're needing to deny and downplay these feelings as a way. This is part of that numbing too. It's like, let's numb ourselves to our own feelings, because these are all signs that we need to do something, right? We have emotions come up because they want to move us towards some kind of action, right? They're telling us like, you're stuck, you're stagnant. We feel something about it. And so really noticing when you have emotions come up, when your instinct is just like, nope, compartmentalize, don't think about it, move on, look over here, distract, numb. This is really a sign that you've grown accustomed to avoiding emotions, avoiding things, instead of just like, okay, this emotion is coming up. There's a really good reason for it. I'm going to get curious. It's my favorite thing to do. When stuff starts coming up or you notice a pattern, you notice this feeling of like, unfulfillment, getting curious. Wow, where did that start? How long has that been there? Right? And when we're curious, it's such a place of power to be sitting in curiosity, right? We're being curious, and really being curious is pretty much the opposite of being avoidant. When we're being avoidant, we're like, no, I'm going to turn my back on this and I just want it to go away. When you're curious, you're turning towards it and you're trying to engage with it and you're trying to get more information and you're getting all up in it, right? Trying to figure it out. So curiosity is our friend when we decide like, okay, my life has gotten stagnant. There's so much anxiety. There's so much numbing. There's so much distraction, like procrastination. Like, I'm ready to stop being avoidant. Put on your curiosity. Get super curious about everything. So why is it important to really move past avoidance and to pick up this new way of life, this life of really authenticity? Dealing with things in the moment, not turning your back on issues and feelings and problems and relationships, actually taking it as it is, connecting with the moment authentically with curiosity. Why should we do this, right? It's definitely easier in the moment to avoid. It's always going to be easier to avoid. It's the lowest common denominator, right? But your problems will not go away. When you avoid them, they're still there, right? You know this. And so what typically happens is the problem is still here and it's just getting bigger, right? It's not going away, it's getting bigger. And so this is one of the number one reasons to, motivate yourself to really put away your avoidant ways, is because your problems are just going to get worse and they're not going to go away on their own. Another reason to really stop your avoidant tendency is to build stronger relationships. Relationships are the first things that suffer when we start to live in an avoidant way. When we're avoiding our own feelings, then we can't authentically share those with others. When we're avoiding any kind of confrontation or conflict, we're pulling away in a relationship. When we're needing to distract and numb ourselves from all of these things that we're avoiding, that also distracts and numbs us away from relationships. And so at the end of the day, if having secure, close relationships, meaningful relationships is important to you, then you really need to stop avoiding. Another great benefit to facing things head on and to not avoid is that you will have less anxiety in the long run. Now, notice I'm saying in the long run and not immediately, because, when we start to shift from this, turning our back on what's happening and avoiding to putting on curiosity and learning how to notice what's happening, get curious about it, take action, have these difficult conversations, there will be some discomfort. There might be a lot of discomfort, right? When we start to do this new thing, this new way of interacting and approaching life. But long run, big picture, when we're living authentically and we're not avoiding things, you will have less anxiety because you'll be living in such an authentic way where there's nothing that you're turning your back on. It's all in front of you. And so there's way less to feel anxious about. And then you will notice that you have increased self-confidence. And so as you have, less anxiety, increased self-confidence, you will find more success, right? Success in your relationships, success in your life, right? Whatever it is that you're working towards, when we put down the habit of just avoiding, then we can move towards what we want and we can really start to gain some of that success that we're looking for. Your overall emotional well-being, your mental health, all of that improves when you put down the habit of avoidance. And there's this other benefit, and that's breaking this cycle of regret, right? Because when we live in a way where we procrastinate and we numb and we distract and we avoid, right? When we live in this way, it becomes so isolating and we miss opportunities and we miss connections and we miss growth opportunities. And what we're left with is regret, right? Our problems are over here still getting bigger and we feel regret. And so when you make this very courageous choice to stop avoiding all of these difficult things in your life, you get to put down the regret, right? And you can live in a way that is authentic and that you feel good about and that allows you to succeed, right? You're able to really see clearly how the avoidance is keeping you stuck in just a partial existence, right? Your vitality is covered. And so putting down the avoidance, facing what you need to face as a way of life, and moving towards a brighter future. I hope you found this content to be helpful. Please like and subscribe, and I will be back next week with another message.